Thank you Prime XBT for sponsoring this content. Prime XBT offers Bitcoin trading, S&P 500, gold, silver, forex, and more. They offer 50 plus assets for you to trade from. They also offer leverage, and they do not require KYC. And the best part about it is you can trade all of these assets against Bitcoin. You can create an account by clicking the link in the description. After your account is created, go to the promo code tab on the left and enter code CryptoUB for a 50% deposit bonus. That's a 50% deposit bonus. You can go right here in the top right corner after you create your account, deposit to wallet, promo code, type in CryptoUB, click activate, and you'll get a 50% deposit bonus. That means if you deposit $1,000, you use code CryptoUB, you'll have 1,500 tradable dollars on Prime XBT. Thank you again, Prime XBT. Hey everyone, it's UB. In this video, I'll be doing a trade explanation video for a Bitcoin scalp long, an Ethereum long, as well as a Link long. I actually want to start off with the big Bitcoin scalp long because that's the most recent trade I've taken. And by the way, if you're watching this YouTube video and you're not in the Haven, these types of videos are not supposed to be, hindsight analysis, anything like that. I've already posted these trades before. I just like to make these videos as educational material. I think they're really beneficial for me to verbally explain everything that I was thinking at the time. But anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's start with Bitcoin here. And what I notice on the 4-hour is just this grinding up. Actually, let's just change it to the hourly so we can see it a little bit clearer. Just this grinding up on the hourly, right? Nothing really too significant, but if we did break down, I wanted to see, I just wanted to have this diagonal marked out, so I did that, went back to the 5-minute to see things more precisely. And I know I'll probably get some questions about the indicators on my chart. I'm not really going to get too much into detail on those in this video. That's planned in the future, but just these clouds here, just think of it as a VWAP, right? And in the middle is just basically, it's at even, right? There's nothing really significant going on. Once it starts poking into the clouds, it's overextended in either direction, essentially. That's just the briefest way I can explain it. So think of it like that going into this trade here. Okay, so I have my diagonal support marked out where, if it breaks down, I want to see what happens. Let's see what happens. And we do start breaking down, of course. Okay, so here's where things got interesting for me. We're touching the first layer of this cloud, which means that things are overextended. Okay, so I also want to be scalp longing here because of the high time frame look of everything, the high time frame, macro view of everything. We just had a bullish break, everything like that. So typically the first pullback and things like that will be bought up very quickly. And because the series of higher lows was so obvious, I really was looking for a scalp long here because my initial plan was to see it grind right back up here because I thought it would just be a fake out and a bear trap below that diagonal. It was just too obvious for me. So that was my thought process here. So we saw the initial breakdown. Let me slow this down a little bit because it's a little bit too fast. Okay, so nothing really significant I haven't entered yet. And I believe around now is when I entered, around here. Okay, and you can see I'm starting to draw these channels here. Again, I entered mostly because I thought it would be a bear break as well as it was overextended after it broke the median area in between the clouds, right? We're also just below the previous daily low, so that's where my stop loss has been placed because I figured if we do drop below there, we'll go more towards, hopefully this is the right chart. Yeah, my high time frame view of the range low here. So I definitely wanted to buy the dip around there, but get out as well at, if we broke the previous daily low. Okay. So my target for this long was just above here, this cluster of resistance here. It's the previous 12-hour high, previous 4-hour high, as well as the previous hourly high, but that really didn't factor into my take profit area, but just mostly those two areas there, as well as the confluence of the overextension of the cloud. If we reached this area, it would be a little bit overextended. So nice confluence there. Okay, so I entered the trade somewhere around here. I don't know the exact time. I believe actually it was right here. Yep, this looks familiar. Okay, so right here, because this was it was a fairly weak dump, and I like the buyback so far. Holding, it didn't quite retest the previous daily low. Everything looks good for me here. Overextended quite a bit. I believe. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say that maybe the hourly closed, but the hourly did not close. I entered my long around here. And as you can see, as price action is going on, I kind of just highlighted this channel because I wanted to potentially add. If we started chopping down here, I got stopped out, but then I wanted to re-long if we, continue with that channel for a while and reclaim that high. Okay, so continued here, highlighted that channel, and then I also highlighted these series of higher lows. Again, right now, my thought process is I just want to get a better visual of what's going on, where support and resistance may be. This technically wasn't valid yet, but I just wanted to, extend it right, see what it could turn into. Okay, and there we go, a nice pop above there, but got smacked down. Nothing really to be too concerned about. Again, nothing really to be concerned about at all. And here we go. Now we broke above this diagonal, which was nice to see. Holding that series of higher lows, also nice to see. And now essentially it's a pretty, I don't have to talk too much about it, but that was, it just followed up and grinded up back to my first take profit, which was, I think there. Yeah. Okay. First take profit again because of the right here previous H12 and H4 high, as well as the first deviation of the cloud. Again, I'll go more into detail about that in the future, but here we go, just grinding up, nothing really special going on. And then we could speed this up because nothing that I have to explain is going on, and we're just grinding up, nothing too significant. And at this time, remember, this is really the trend line that matters the most. None of these really matter too much because they're not really on higher time frames. Remember, this is our hourly support and resistance flip. So this is the first or second interaction with that hourly support and resistance flip. It makes sense that we pulled back a little bit right here, right? Because it was the first interaction with that flip after it broke down, right? Okay, so eventually we hit our first take profit just a few minutes ago, and now I am making this video again. I do like to do these little trend lines just to get an idea of what's going on. They're not really, I'm not going to be basing my trades too much on them, but I just like to get a visual of what's going on because I'm usually tabbing out, looking at different things, so I don't want to forget about a potential support or resistance diagonal or anything like that. So eventually hit the take profit, and that's basically the end of that trade. And now take profit 2, I believe, is 13,060. So right now we're basically returning to the median of the clouds, which may not mean anything to you because I haven't properly explained it, but we're looking for that overextension of the first deviation of the clouds. Okay, so that is the scalp long, and we're already 8 minutes into this video. I guess this is going to be a long one, but next I want to go to Ethereum, which I longed from, I think, 386. Should have maybe checked that before I turn this on. Let me check right now. Yeah, 386, around there. Okay, so this is where it all happened. This is where it all started. I've had this high time frame range marked out for a while. I believe I went over this in a morning scan. I don't want to really waste too much time going over it now if I already have, but maybe check the previous morning scans and see if I have. But regardless, this is the high time frame range I was going to be working with. Oops, I already went too far. But anyway, so on this, let me go down here. Okay, this was an epic fail. Let me replay this again. Sorry for the delay. Let's just go right here. Okay. So the 386 to 380 level is a significant range support and resistance flip, right? Look at all this price action in here, all these support and resistance flips. After a sell-off to the range low, we're grinding up into that resistance. You may be asking, why didn't you long the range low? And that is because I could have easily taken something like this, but where was my take profit, right? Is that really worth it, that kind of move? To me, no. I'd like to go for higher probability moves. So I was essentially waiting for a flip of the 380 or 386 level. 386 was the safest bet, so I waited for that reclaim. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep somewhere in here, which is why I didn't long there. Either way, didn't really matter too much to me because I wanted to long a little bit later. Oh, here was the dump. Okay, to the range low. So just waiting, nothing really special going on here. This was a very, very nice H4 candle because it just engulfed all of this price action. So now there's going to be trap sellers down here, getting smacked down a little bit from the bottom of our high time frame support and resistance flip. And let's break this down to the hourly. Okay, so this hourly candle is where I made the call to enter long at 386, something like that. And what was my stop loss? 374. I definitely had a lot of wiggle room for this stop loss. I could have tightened that up quite a bit. But the thought process behind that was I wanted my stop loss to be below this breakout candle, because if we did something like this and started bleeding back down, that would obviously not be bullish, and I would want to be out of the position, and my argument would become invalid. So that's why my stop loss was there. And my first take profit was, like right here, my first take profit was 407. And if we zoom out, go to the H4 a little bit, and extend that line left, which I already did, you can see that's a previous breakout point to the high at 490. Okay, so that's going to be a resistance area when we approach that level. Let's break it down to the hourly. So we're filled on along here. It basically goes to the first take profit very quickly. Slope bleeds down a little bit, nothing too significant. Could have gotten filled there again. And then eventually we make our way towards the first take profit. I could speed this up a little bit. Okay, first take profit, nice, awesome. And also we had the equilibrium confluent resistance as well, just a few, like 2% away. So that was nice confluent resistance. My take profit 2 is 421, and that is because of, where's 421? Okay, that's because of this support and resistance flip right in here. See, that's right at 421, right? Breakout, retest that as support before the move up to 490. You can see now my first two take profits are essentially based on this pump to 490. Right, breakout point, take profit 1, support and resistance flip, take profit 2. Okay, take profit 3, 436, which is again related to this move to 490. Stalled a bit around here, basically the same reason why take profit 2 is at 421. Stalled a bit, nice pivot towards the move to 490. And if we extend that line left, we can see it was an area of resistance before a 14% bleed down. Okay, so literally all of my take profits were based on this move. You can get a lot of information from something like that. Okay, I think that's really important. You may want to rewind and rewatch it if I went through it too quickly for you. But that's essentially my entire Ethereum trade. We haven't hit take profit 2 yet. We're just chopping around the equilibrium, but really nothing else to go over in that trade. Nice. We will move on to my link long, which is right here. Okay, so now this long, this is also kind of interesting. Sorry, I'm trying to speed this video up a little bit, but there's a lot of information to go over. But let's just replay this from essentially this daily candle. And I've been watching this compression for a while now. If you go to my Swing Trade Thoughts channel, you can see that I've been filling a sizable spot link position for a while. I had ads all the way down to like 985, I think, something like that. So I've been watching this compression for a while. We sell off a bit, fine, nothing really to worry about. Of course it looks extremely ugly, right? This is pretty terrifying to see this kind of dump directly into support. But again, we're directly into support, and the high time frame bullish argument is still valid. So there's really nothing to worry about until we get that support break, which, as you can see, we don't get. Okay, nice bounce off of support. This gets my attention now for an official long. Okay, let's slow this down a little bit. Okay, so now there's a few areas that we have to watch out for. I didn't want to make an official long from down here because let's say this is just a dead cat bounce. If I did something like that, I'd probably have my stop loss below this consolidation before the move up there. My first take profit could have been that equilibrium, which would have been a nice trade. Yeah, 2 or 3 are really not bad. Didn't want to take it because it was risky, because alts were selling off. Ethereum, BTC looked like hot garbage, so I didn't want to take the risk. So because I didn't want to take the risk, where will be my next opportunity? And that will be here, right? We break this support and resistance flip right when we broke down this swing low. We have not been able to break above it, except for a deviation right here, right? But really, we haven't been able to break and hold above it, right? So obviously a significant area of resistance. When we break above, it's going to be a strong support and resistance flip. But the only thing about that is we also had this H4 block that led to some pretty sizable rejections, only tested really once, because this wick isn't really a strong test. I would really say that this is the stronger test, because we actually attempted it quite a few times. So that was my next option, right? Because where would I have longed to from something like that? That's just not worth it. And that was really the last thing in our way before we could move up towards the equilibrium. I'm very bullish on Link. I think it could go to $16, but that's besides the point. Again, so what we're waiting for now. We're waiting for a break of that diagonal. Great. Step 1 complete. Step 2 nearly complete. Oops. Okay. So I called to enter during this hourly candle. Obviously, it took off immediately after, which is unfortunate. Some people got filled, some people didn't. Totally fine, because I said it could still get smacked down around here, and that's because of all this price action in here. It would make sense to, again, chop around in this area for quite a while. So let's speed this up a little bit and see what's going on. Anything? Nothing really, just chopping around. You could have gotten filled here. The entry range for this was like 2%. It was in this entire green box, which I said was quite wide, but you can ladder them towards the upper range if you felt so inclined to. So now we're just chopping around. I decided to highlight this diagonal resistance that will be coming up here shortly, because when we break that, I said that we could get a decent move out of it. But yeah, that's essentially the entire trade. My first take profit is the equilibrium, 13.59, as I mentioned. I could stop this. Okay, so my first take profit is just below the equilibrium. All these untapped highs here. I believe I spoke about this in the previous morning scan, but regardless, first take profit is the equilibrium. Second take profit is 15.11, and that's based on the support and resistance flip right in here, right? Stalling in here. If we extend that right, nice action in there. So take profit 2, take profit 3 is the range high. And my throat is really starting to hurt, but thankfully we are done with the trade explanations. I'm sorry it was a long one. I really think there's some very valuable information in here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.